Welcome back to the Talk Yours podcast. In today's podcast, we will be previewing the second round, giving our predictions for every single series, what the teams need to do, what they don't need to do. But first, this weekend was pretty crazy. 2 different game sevens, one game one that I slept half through of. So I don't know how much we'll be talking about it, but we'll be previewing the series. So if you just care about the second round, we will have timestamps. Just go ahead and skip to that. Mm-hmm. But very first game 7, I want to talk about Clippers versus Nuggets.
What a barn burner.
That game, it ended up not being very fun. We were at a party and we decided just have fun at the party because come fourth quarter, there was no fourth quarter. I didn't watch a single second of it, but apparently, did you see that clip of Russ? Like when he got the steal,
dunking and hanging on the rim,
hanging on the rim as long as he can. Oh, dude, that must have felt so good against a former team.
Yeah,
where he at the first couple games, he kind of struggled. Game 6 or game 5, whichever one, he missed. It was game 6. He missed a couple different layups. No, he missed a dunk, I think, in the third quarter, and then with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the game 6, he missed a wide open layup when the Nuggets could have came back. They had all the momentum. So what a game. Yeah. What do you think? I have a couple different rants I want to go on, but what's your reaction?
I could talk about the Nuggets. I could talk about the group effort, but the main thing to talk about, James Harden. I know you want to get into that too, so I'm not going to say too much, but what a wasted opportunity for James Harden to prove everyone wrong, or at least start to, right? Because there was always going to be people who hold, those years against him, 2019, 2018. But man, what a poor take 8 shots as the second option, and maybe even the first option when you really think about it, because he has the ball in his hands so much. Yeah. To take 8 shots in Game 7, that is just it's inexcusable. I mean,
it's a slippery slope, right? Because shout out, he had 13 assists, he was dishing it, but that's just not what the team needed, especially once they start missing shots. Because honestly, James Harden was so non-aggressive, but so was the other team's best player, Nikola Jokic. The problem is Jokic was able to do that because he knew his role players were hitting shots. Mm-hmm. Derek Jones Jr. had the first 7 of 9 points for the Clippers, but outside of that, no role player was doing much. I guess Bogdan hit a couple shots, but that was really it. You have to be aggressive now. It's not like he's super old and he's super slow now. No, we've seen games of him where he has been explosive. Mm-hmm. So for him to just give up and just keep passing to guys like Chris Dunn, like the Derek Jones Jr., I can't even think of it. It's just embarrassing because ideally James Harden, compared to other NBA legends, should be out of his prime, should be nearing retirement. And the fact that James Harden's doing so good at this age it should only be positive things. But the problem is he underachieved in his prime. Now, whether that's his fault or not, because he had to go against the Super Team Warriors, it's the Super Team Warriors, because don't get me wrong, the 15-16 Warriors were amazing, but they weren't this, super team. That was only 3 years of the Super Team. James Harden's prime is not 3 years. It's not like we should just give him this excuse of, well, he had to go against this fierce competition. No, he had 2020, he had 2021, he had 20, even years like 16 and 17, he wasn't an MVP, 16 and 15, he wasn't an MVP, but he was still a star at those times with Dwight Howard. And I think Clint Capella for 16. I could be wrong. But just all around embarrassing, because this is your time to prove. You have Kawhi Leonard as a teammate. James Harden's, we talk about Kevin Durant's teammates, we talk about LeBron James' teammates. James Harden's is just as good, if not better. Maybe not better, but just as good as those two. 0 rings, 0 championships. I'm not going to count the early OKC days, but he actually ended up playing for both of those players later in his career. So I can count those guys.
So that's tough to me, just because, when you talk about star power, James Harden's definitely had the teammates that Kevin Durant has had, a lot of the same teammates. But when you talk about what Kevin Durant did in Golden State, which was joining a system that already worked perfectly, James Harden hasn't necessarily done that, right? When he went to the Nets, he went to the Nets with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, but they had to kind of rebuild that system around those guys, right? Brooklyn did not have a functioning team before those guys came there.
All Harden had to do was hit a couple shots.
And that's true.
He's the one who got hurt. He's the one, and Kyrie Irving did as well. Don't get me wrong.
And he gets hurt. That how much is that within his control? You know,
It's not within his control, but game 7, he decides to play and plays terribly. Like, I could be wrong about this, but I swear it was like 3 for 17 or some abysmal shooting night. You give him one more shot, and Kevin Durant wins that game with that game winner. Should his foot have been behind the line? Yes, but James Harden gives you one more bucket, which he couldn't give you. Like, I think Harden has had a lot of different opportunities. I mean, the coach and the GM built the team in 2020 around James Harden ISO ball by having the small ball, by trading Clint Capella at the deadline to play PJ Tucker at the 5, because apparently that's what he wanted. And if he didn't want it, then he wasn't very vocal about it to his coach, because that's what D'Antoni wanted as well. And yes, they had to go against LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but you knew that. You knew you were going to have to play those two or the Clippers later on. So if you thought that that Arsenal wasn't going to do it, why would Harden agree to that? He had a good rolling center.
Yeah.
At least at the time. Good.
Yeah.
Good defensive rebounding center in Clint Capella. And he traded him. I'm trying to think about other years. 2021, that was the Nets. 2020 was the Rockets. I don't know. I feel like he's had plenty of chances, and this was his best chance. He has a great pick and roll big right now in Zubac. Kawhi Leonard, I'm not going to say played amazing in Game 7. I'm not even going to say Kawhi Leonard played great all around throughout the series, offensively outside of, I think it was Game 2 that he had like the nearly perfect game, 37 points. But you have enough, in my opinion. You have a guy in Bogdan off the bench who was struggling to shoot the ball, but somehow that Clippers team, Tyronn Lue, Zubac, all those guys made Bogdan this, like, because I'm a Hawks fan. I've watched this dude for a while. He was actually decent defensively. He was getting rebounds. He was making hustle plays. I never saw that in my life. So the fact that you have a shooter who's doing that, maybe he wasn't shooting it, but you still can't leave that guy open, which opens up Harden's game just as much. It's embarrassing to me.
Yeah, no, it's most frustrating thing about it is that James Harden,
He didn't try.
He looked disengaged for the whole game. I think I said that to you. I think I looked at him in the second quarter and I went, Harden looks disengaged. He did not look like he didn't look like he wanted to be there, which is insane to me. It was like James Harden of old, where people were like, oh, he doesn't play defense. He only wants to score. He only cares when he has the ball in his hands. And I thought we had moved beyond that. And I feel like generally he has, but I don't know why there was shades of it showing up in the last game. And the most frustrating thing is that James Harden he's not one of those guys that doesn't play winning basketball, right? He's not one of those guys that you can say, his play style does not contribute to winning. That has never been the problem. The problem is that James Harden does not show up in big moments. If James Harden played the way he did in all the other games in big moments, James Harden would have a championship by now. That's the problem. The problem is you can talk about the Warriors, you can talk about, the Lakers, you can talk about all these teams that he's run into over the years when he had these great teams. But at the end of the day, James Harden never showed up when he needed to, right? There was one time, and if that was in Philly, when he showed up, I think it was in Game 6, and had like 40 points or whatever. Went crazy, right? You know what he put up in Game 7?
I think it was like
6.
It was
He
6.
put up 6 points in Game 7.
Well, the funny part about that series is he had 2 different 40-point games. The rest of them were like, I swear, under 16, 17, which is like kind of insane to think about. And the fact that he can have 40 twice, and then you look at that, how many points he actually scored in total, and it was not that many.
And you would just think a player of his caliber at some point in his career would show up, because it's not like James Harden isn't clutch in big moments in other games. It's not like James Harden hasn't hit big shots before in his career. It's just that for whatever reason, when it comes down to a playoff elimination situation, James Harden has yet to show up in a way that impresses you.
Yeah. So that's our James Harden rant. I do want to talk about the winners and how good they played.
Yeah.
I don't just want to be negative. So Christian Brown hit open shots. That's what he's been doing all regular season, and he was not doing in the playoffs. He finally did it. Shout out him. Aaron Gordon, obviously, just the fact that he's a pull-up threat somehow. And, obviously he's so good at moving off ball. Jokic can find him. Shout out him. Jamal Murray didn't even have a good game, and they still easily won. Like, Jamal Murray actually struggled. Shout out MPJ. You could call him a front runner, because that dude, when the Nuggets are winning, that's what he hit. Like, dude, you cannot count on MPJ when they're losing, but when they're winning, he will extend that lead with some ridiculous threes.
Yeah. MPJ is who people thought Steph was in 2014-15.
Yeah.
That dude might be the most lethal front runner I've ever seen. You take the pressure off him, he's not missing. Yeah, no, the Nuggets played great.
Shout out Russ.
Shout out Russ.
Somehow a 3-and-D player now. Like he just
Yeah,
randomly wants to
I mean,
do that.
we'll see if he can keep that up against
But can't hit open layups.
the best 3-point defense in the NBA. But
Yeah.
the Nuggets played really well as a team. They just basically showed that they were the better all-around team than the Clippers, which we kind of knew coming into this series. I mean, I get Norman Powell, I get Zubac, but beyond that, who do you really have that's going to be impactful offensively? The Nuggets just showed their championship tenure and or experience, and it just looked like a team that's played together for a long time against a team that has not. Yeah. And that's kind of the easiest way for me to describe it.
Jokic really just did what he needed to do.
Yep.
I'd like to think, obviously, that if the game was way closer, he'd be taking way more shots. But the fact is, he didn't need to. He wasn't in James Harden's shoes because I give credit to Harden. Harden was finding his teammates open, but sometimes a Harden contested three is better than a Chris Dunn open three.
That's all fine and well. And not to get too distracted, but this is what irritates me about the Warriors a lot is that sometimes in their offense, you'll have guys like Moses Moody and, Buddy Hield taking tough contested mid-ranges, and we can get to Buddy Hield later. Obviously, he, did what he did last night, but, why is that not Jimmy Butler or Steph Curry? Sometimes you're going to have to take tough contested mid-ranges or layups or whatever in the playoffs because that's just the nature of playoff basketball. So you have to make sure that your best guys are taking those shots. And sometimes it seems like James Harden doesn't want to take those shots. And I get it. I get looking for the best, the best open look or whatever. But there just comes a point where you've got to, put it on your own shoulders to do it.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, speaking of, let's just go ahead and talk about Rockets Warriors Game 7. Pretty good game. I think actually at one point it might have been a 20-point game, and then the Rockets cut it down all the way to. Were you saying 2?
No. It was a 20-point game at the end.
Oh,
it was never a 20-point game in the middle. It was like maybe 13 at one point.
I guess maybe it seemed
yeah,
like
I think it was 12 going into halftime, and then the Rockets. Amen was great. Fred VanVleet again was efficient. Just a good Fred VanVleet game.
So let's just this time I'm gonna be positive first, and then we'll get into the Rockets because there's something that kind of irritates me about the Rockets. But shout out Buddy Hield, just pretty much hit. Not only the open threes he needed to that Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler were generating, but also hit. A half court shot that half court shots they're always gonna hurt.
Yeah.
No matter what. I'm not gonna say it was like the most important, but sometimes ending a quarter where you were already playing good and then just ending it with a half court shot could just absolutely, make the vibe so much better than it was. And then also just Buddy Hield's defense. Like the Warriors ran a zone for a lot of that game, maybe even like most. And what's impressive to me about the Warriors zone is how Steph Curry and Buddy Hield keep up with it. Like it's really not easy because a zone is meant to be broken. It's actually like, in my opinion, a flawed defensive play. Because it's so easy to break. But if your guards on the perimeter, like the two guys and the 2-3 are that fast where they're rotating fast enough, like there weren't many open three. The only open threes that I remember, like when I mean open, were Tari Eason. And that's actually the guy you want to live with, taking the open threes outside of a guy like Amen who's just not going to take them,
And don't get me wrong, he knocked a couple of them down, but
you live with that.
That's you live fine. With that, yeah. Did you get off what you wanted to?
Just about Buddy Hield. So if you want to talk about Buddy Hield, but I have other things.
Oh, I want to talk about Buddy Hield. Okay. Buddy Hield. Oh my God. I don't know what it was, but something about seeing Buddy Hield succeed just feels amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of those guys that a lot of people root for because you don't really. There's what do you have to dislike?
Series, or third technically.
Whatever.
Second year of making the playoffs.
Dude, I don't know what got into him last night. I haven't seen him hoop like that since the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But
I forgot how good he was those first 2 weeks. And then he pretty much I think the reason you root for him is because he's one of the greatest shooters ever. Yeah. But he's not that good.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Isn't that so weird?
I'm gonna be telling my kids about how good of a shooter Buddy Hield was, but when you talk about him as a player, well, was he ever an all-star? No. Was he ever near? No, not really.
Not even close. But dude, it was crazy because my dad was even like, but this is crazy that Buddy Hield's doing this because he's not that good of a shooter. I'm like, what?
He's like,
I feel like people
percentage-wise, like one of the greatest.
I know, but I feel like people, because he doesn't, contribute a lot else, look at him as a bad player. So they're like, how can you be one of the best shooters ever in the 3-point era and not be a great player?
Also, he's never been seen as young because he went into the NBA, I swear, at 23, 24.
24. One thing I loved about to point at a specific part of his game is sometimes when Buddy Hield gets going, he'll kind of force up shots. Like he'll take a contested step back, or he'll like really try to get up a three because he's feeling it, and that's all fine and well. What he did that was amazing yesterday is he trusted his teammates to get the ball to him in an open situation, and the Warriors just found him. Like Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, all those guys were looking for him actively. Like, you know, obviously the Rockets were running to Steph and that left Buddy open, but sometimes, you know, they just give it to Steph anyway and let him go. And one of the things that I loved about last night was Buddy Hield was getting a lot of open threes because the Warriors were looking for him and looking to throw it to him, right? There was a mutual trust there that was just really great to see.
Shout out Jimmy Butler randomly after like game 4 or 5 in the post game being like, Buddy, stop dribbling the ball. He wasn't even talking to Buddy. He was just talking to the media saying that, which is like crazy.
That wasn't even game 4 or 5. That was like game 1.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was the very beginning of the series. Or it might have been game 2 because Buddy had that play where he got pickpocketed by Steven Adams. That might have even been game 3, but I'm pretty sure he said it before that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But like, dude, Jimmy has been on Buddy's ass in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Like,
and hopefully Jimmy only is like that because he knows Buddy could take it. Because I mean, a lot of people would not respond to that well. You go into the media. Also, by the way, just quick shout out last game. Shout out Michael Porter Jr. because Jokic kind of called him out in the media in a post game a couple days ago, talking about like if you're or not. This is like a week ago maybe. If you're not ready, then you just can't play. And he was kind of talking about MPJ. Same thing with Jimmy and Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And Buddy Hield's responded amazingly, and that's what separates you as a role player, and that's what honestly might get him paid. I don't know when his next. Oh no, I think he just got paid, right?
Yeah, I think the Warriors just signed him, so he should be there for the next little bit.
But that's what gets you minutes. So.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I if you told me like just seeing his mannerisms, seeing his body language, and not knowing a ton about Buddy Hield as like an individual, if you would have told me like someone was gonna come to him and berate him and like be on his ass, and that was what was gonna light a fire under him, I don't think I would have believed you. Like I don't think I would have believed that. But you think about it, this dude was College Player of the Year. This dude was a demon in Oklahoma. Like, he's got it in him. He just needs the confidence and the push. And, I mean, I don't know if you heard before the game, he said something to Dillon Brooks because they played each other in the NCAA tournament when Dillon Brooks was at Oregon.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, what he said?
Buddy Hield said, I sent you home before. I'm going to send you home again.
That's crazy.
Buddy, mother-loving Hield, dude. Like, dude stepped up.
Yeah.
I can't even – I don't know.
Especially because, like, it was a lot of late contests, but he was kind of doing it on Dillon Brooks because Dillon Brooks is a big part of that zone, and I feel like it's just hard to – because, like, both teams are running the zone, and it's really just which team can hit more threes, and if you're the Warriors, you like that game.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially because, you can't just play man on Steph Curry.
Yeah.
You will get torched, and you'll get tired. And
well, the thing is, as soon as they switched to man, that's when Steph got going.
Yeah.
That zone gave him trouble, for sure. Like, if Buddy wasn't hitting his shots, then I feel like the Warriors would have been in a lot of trouble. But as soon as they switched to man, that's when Steph got going.
I think their last play in zone actually was a Buddy Hield 3 in the fourth quarter. Like his last, maybe like, or second to last 3. And
because his last 3, it was some BS. Fred shoved him, like, right after he shot it.
Oh,
literally shoved him to the ground, and they didn't call it because the game was over anyway.
Yeah.
And Buddy knocked it down, and then just started talking crazy to the crowd.
Dude, I love it.
Like, I mean, I get it. Honestly, I was like, kind of like, damn, that's a weak move by like Fred at the end of the game. But it's also like, it's been a physical ass series. Yeah. Like, you're frustrated. It's game 7. You're at home. You lost. I get it. Like,
also, like, no injury is gonna come of it. If there was
no, I'm really glad Amen didn't get hurt. Dude, when he like started hobbling like that, I was like, please don't be like an ACL or something like that, dude. Or like an Achilles.
Well, especially because what really pissed me off about that was the Rockets were only down 8, and then at first I didn't see him hobble. I thought he was just like he was just being slow. The Warriors scored a quick 5. They probably scored like 5 points in like the first 30 seconds of that fourth quarter. Yeah. And I was just thinking like, did the Rockets just randomly give up? But unfortunately, it was like an Amen Thompson like. He reacted a little late to his injury because I think it actually happened in the third quarter. It
initially happened in the third quarter, and then he kind of like aggravated it. And I think they were calling it a cramp because he was stretching it out on the sideline. I don't think if it was structural, they would have been stretching him out on the sideline like that.
Yeah. By the way, did you notice Amen Thompson loses his shoes a lot? Like, it was like 2 or 3 times in the game, which is like weird.
Dude, he lost his shoes. Curry lost his shoes a few times. Like, it was kind of weird. Like, it happened a lot.
I don't have anything else to say about
one of those things. Yeah, like, Maybe he likes big shoes. I don't know.
I don't know.
Helps him jump higher.
But yeah, shout out Steph Curry.
Yep.
3 points at the half. But then, in that fourth quarter, he had 15 or something?
Something
crazy.
like that. Not just the 3-point shooting though, and not just the scoring. Dude, that might be one of the best defensive games I've ever seen Steph Curry play. Like all of this conversation about him being a bad defender, being a defensive liability. Name one guy who is better defensively at 37 years old than they were in their MVP season. Like, of all the things that he has gotten better at over the years, I think this might be the best he's ever been defensively when it comes right down to it. When it comes down to being physical, when it comes to, he had 2 blocks. I think he blocked Şengün at one point. And obviously that's happening because he's timing it up. He's not meeting him at the rim. But, there was one play where Jabari Smith tried to take him, right? Kind of tried to take him into the paint.
Oh, that pissed me off.
Dude, Jabari Smith could not move him. That was crazy. And I don't know if that's on Jabari Smith or if that's, on Steph. I think it's a little bit of both.
Houston, you have Hakeem Olajuwon in that city. You need to teach Jabari Smith something. Because that's insane. He literally, couldn't get within 10 feet of the rim.
Yeah.
Jabari against Stephen Curry. Which, I'm giving props to Steph Curry. That shouldn't happen, though. No matter what.
No.
No matter how good of a defender you are at
Dude,
6'3".
Jabari Smith is 6'9".
He might be
Is
6'10",
he 6?
11.
He might be 6'10".
I'd probably 10, yeah.
I would say 10. But
that's still...
that was to me, I don't know. That was during that Warriors run, too, where, they really needed a shot.
Yeah.
And I think he might have airballed it.
Jabari?
Honestly, yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember his... Oh, I think I kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph Curry played amazing defensively. Yep. Draymond, he takes a little too many shots for my liking, but he had a lot of points, to kind of start him off when no one else was hitting anything. And then off the bench, I'm trying to even think
shout out Looney.
Oh yeah, no, oh
because
Looney. So that's...
Looney came in the first quarter or whatever, and it was still pretty much a tie game, and it won't maybe show up in the box score. He made such a huge difference, dude, with the rebounding
on the boards, just defending the big. I've been saying this. If Gary Payton II and maybe Podge or something, if they're not giving you the shooting, go to the big because right now you're getting killed on the glass, and sometimes it is a numbers game of how many shots you can get up. Now, when you're Houston and you can't hit that many shots, even if you get 10 plus more, it's brutal. But yeah, no, shout out Looney. I even think just any big would have been great, but yeah, Looney did his thing.
And I don't say this with any sort of ill intent or anything because I love Gary Payton, right? I think he's a great player and I think he's a great fit on the team. But it was almost a good thing that he was sick and that he couldn't play because it forced Kerr to play these other guys and especially play Looney more minutes. And I think that really benefited them more than having Gary Payton in the game.
Yeah. And I just can't imagine the zone being that much better with Gary Payton versus obviously offensively they're a lot better without him.
Yeah. So. Moody struggled a little bit offensively. I don't think he made a shot. I think he was 0 for 5. Kuminga was 0 for 4. And maybe Moody made a 3 at some point in the second half. He did make a shot or two, but he struggled. Kuminga played for only 7 minutes and struggled. But I do still want to say that I liked the way the team looked when those guys were on the floor. I think Kuminga had one good look right away and missed it, and I think that might have kind of affected his confidence and Kerr keeping him on the floor. Overall, though, a good team win, especially when Steph and Jimmy aren't doing anything crazy. I know Jimmy had 20, but that's not even crazy by his standards.
If you told me Steph had probably 20?
Yeah.
Or 18 or something?
Probably I think he had 22 maybe.
Steph had 22, Jimmy had 20. I would say there's no way Houston loses.
But hey.
But they lost.
Buddy healed.
So now let's talk about the Rockets. There's a couple things that really pissed me off. First thing.
I don't know. I was pretty happy about everything.
Oh, I know you were. Warriors fan. Jalen Green, it really makes me mad how a team can run a zone on a team that's so smart. You have Amin Thompson who knows how to make the right pass, Sengun and Fred and guys like that. But Jalen Green, if you want to take your game to the next level, even just scoring wise, because he's just known as a scorer, he can't do much else. He's I think he holds his own defensively. His playmaking isn't great. But if you just want to be a great scorer, you have to be a guy who, if you give Jalen Green a little bit of space, he has to take advantage, especially against a zone. So the fact that you can run a zone against him, and it looks like there's 0 shooters on the court, is insane. When you're the guy known to be the scorer, you're the third best player on your team, but you're somehow the best scorer, but you can't score. How do you justify even playing it? it makes me so mad because of his potential and how much he shows, and there's no way a zone takes you out of the off the game. That's just insane to me. Another thing that pisses me off, and it's gonna sound stupid, but the Houston Rockets took a guy at pick 3 who was known as an NBA ready player, a guy who was like you look at Zachary Reese-Shea, you look at Alex Sarr, and you look at Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd was known as the guy who was supposed to be on the court day one, helping a contender. That's why people loved him on the Rockets so much. You don't play him the whole year. You obviously can't play him in the playoffs then. That is the guy you need. They need a shooter. They didn't have a single shooter on the court besides Fred VanVleet because I just don't see Jalen Green as a shooter anymore. Like, that disappointed me. Like, it's not even that he missed shots. He doesn't even take them.
Yeah.
Jalen Green has to take shots for Houston to win, in my opinion.
And to be fair, Jalen Green is a guy who is not going to operate best if he's primarily taking 3-point shots.
Right,
but
he's
more efficient. Yeah, sure, that's true. I mean, Jabari Smith was their only, and Fred, those were their only 2 3-point shooters on the court. Yeah. Otherwise, you have Tari Eason taking threes.
And even Jabari, they put Steph Curry on him. And now, obviously, Steph was great defensively.
Yeah.
But
that still shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
If you are 8 inches or 7 inches taller than the guy guarding you, there's no way they should be able to stop you from getting a good shot off.
So this isn't we're just talking about this game. We're not talking about the future of the Rockets. But if this is how Jalen Green's going to play, you need to trade him. Because you can't expect Sengun and Amen Thompson to all of a sudden become shooters that can take advantage of his own. Maybe Sengun, but
let's actually get into the future of the Rockets real quick, because I have a question I want to ask you, because I know you obviously feel very strongly about Jalen Green. Do you think that the Rockets can be at their best and still have Jalen Green on the team? Because he functions best as the primary option, like the number 1 scoring option. But do the Rockets have their best future with Jalen Green as their number 1 scoring option? Because I don't think you can have him on the team otherwise.
No.
So you think they have to trade him?
They have to trade him. I'm not saying that Jalen Green can't improve on this. He can't learn from this. But he's not the shooter that Houston needs. Because obviously the future is Amen Thompson and Sengun.
Yeah.
And Jalen Green's just not the best fit. If I was Houston, obviously if Giannis is on the table, you try to get him. But I don't think they're getting Giannis. Let's say they're not getting him. Mm-hmm. You go for a guy like Zach LaVine. Like, who obviously Zach LaVine, he's getting paid a lot more and his ceiling isn't as high. But Zach LaVine is what Houston needs. And Jalen Green, I think, could just... I don't know. It's because I'm such a big fan of Jalen Green. Yeah. Where even actually hearing that kind of pisses me off, because Jalen Green should have so much more value. But just the fact that he lost confidence so fast, and he's just so bad at decision making that he can get played off the court in the playoffs as a guy who is pretty much seen as the future of the team. You see other guys like Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore, who I believe might become even better shooters than them, and I'm just disappointed in Jalen Green. I don't even want to really get too much into it, dude. No, it pisses me off. Like, we could talk about other players as well who kind of pissed me off, like Dylan Brooks, who looked so good throughout. Honestly, when the Warriors were winning those first 4 games, Dylan Brooks looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. But these last 3 games, Brooks has been pretty awful in my opinion.
He didn't look awful though last night, I wouldn't say.
I don't know. Whenever I watched him, I didn't look at the box score, but whenever I watched him, he didn't look
he knocked down some tough mid ranges. There were times definitely where their offense stagnated, where Dylan Brooks went and got him a bucket, which is odd to say, but he
Why
did.
is Dylan Brooks the one taking tough mid ranges? Why is it not Jalen Green?
I'm not Ime.
That's so
I don't know what
dude.
to tell you.
That's not Ime. That's Jalen Green. Gosh,
no,
dude, if I looked at his averages, we could even look at it right now. It's probably he averaged like 10 points per game. He halved probably his points because he had one good game. Like the rest of them, I don't know. All I know is his points line was 12 and a half. I took that over because I'm like, dude, he's due. He was not due. He sucked. He had two. He had 2 threes in a row in a crucial moment. But outside of that 1 minute, the other 47, he was awful. Shout out, Amen Thompson played absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Just his athleticism, the way that he can just this is what I love about him and Zion. It's like I love these freak athletes. He could just miss a shot and then immediately go back up.
Yeah.
Not even on some big man, but just in an athletic way. Not in I'm so big I could just get the rebound. No, it's impressive when you watch.
He just gets above everybody else before they even got a chance to get up there.
Yeah.
No, it's super impressive.
And obviously Amen would help break the zone so easily if he could shoot, but I'm not going to give him that flack yet. Jalen Green already has a contract extension. Once you have the contract extension, then I can make fun of you.
Yeah.
I'm not too mad about Jabari. I'm not too mad about Amen Thompson. I'm not too mad about somehow Cam Whitmore still getting D and Bs because he's still on that rookie contract. Jalen Green, you have the extension. This is your team.
Trade Cam Whitmore. I'm serious. If you're not going to play him, trade him. Send him somewhere else where he's going to get minutes because the dude has potential and the dude looks good every time he gets on the court.
Yeah, he does.
But no, dude. So interestingly enough, I've been thinking a lot about who would fit for the Rockets, and obviously people are talking about Kevin Durant. I don't really like that because you're basically plugging in a guy who's going to have 1 or 2 more years in the league, and is he's not the number 1 option he used to be.
And he's taking up all of
the salary cap, and he's also stunting the potential developments of guys like Amen or guys like if Jalen Green sticks around. Which it doesn't I think we're both in agreement that it would be better if he didn't for the Rockets. But, guys like Amen, guys like Reed Shepherd, if they ever, get minutes. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, if you're going to bring in a guy who is going to be the number 1 option, who's going to take those looks away from other guys, it better be a guy who's a little bit younger, who perfectly fits your team and what you want to do. Houston has Phoenix's first-round picks. Houston has assets. Houston can go get Devin Booker. And I think that's exactly who they should go try to get in the offseason.
I like that a lot. The only problem is besides the first round picks, there's not much like Phoenix isn't in a corner where they have to trade Booker unless Booker asks out.
Yeah.
So that's why you might have to give up another guy like Jabari Smith.
Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, Reed Shepherd in the first. Are you kidding me? You don't even play them. And Phoenix wants to get younger. Phoenix wants the prospects.
That's actually true. Yeah.
If you're not going to play them, trade them. Get a guy who's going to be way higher value than Jalen Green. Basically, minutes-wise, you're trading Jalen Green first for Devin Booker.
Yeah, and that's a huge, huge upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't willing to give up that much, then my dream actually is Zach LaVine would be a perfect fit.
Zach LaVine would be great on that team.
I actually think Zach LaVine gives just as much defensively because I just don't.
Another guy, and I don't see him coming there, but another guy that would also fit that same bill of shooter, offensive, better offensively. Desmond Bane would actually be a good fit there too. I just don't see him leaving Memphis.
I don't see the Rockets and Memphis making a trade with each other.
That's actually true.
I feel like both of
them
they don't
they don't like each other.
No, so
which is weird because when was the last time they even played in the playoffs?
Probably some sort of. It might be some.
It
sort of
must have been
like early.
Some sort of grit and grind Grizzlies versus early Harden year.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even know for sure if they like to hate each other, but I feel I guess it's the Dylan Brooks thing. I think that's the only reason why I kind of feel like.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Does Dylan Brooks like Memphis? Because they
I feel like
didn't want to re-sign him.
I feel like he doesn't, to be honest with you.
Memphis is not the same without Dylan Brooks. I don't care, dude. They seem like a whole new team and a.
Marcus Smart was supposed to be the new Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, and then I don't even remember him getting a minute.
I don't think he wants to be there. Genuine. I think he said that, didn't he?
Well, he said I don't remember. Well, I mean, he's in Washington now. If that's so much better.
Yeah.
But,
I guess he's not even there. So
yeah.
I didn't even. God, Washington.
But yeah, hopefully for their future, Reed Shepherd gets some minutes. Cam Whitmore in the future gets some minutes, and if not, trade Whitmore.
Trade them.
Because I feel like there's a team that, like the Wizards, like the Bulls or something, that would give Whitmore a chance, and you get at least some asset back for him.
Yeah. I mean, you could get Kobe White from the Bulls.
Okay, I don't think Whitmore does not have that kind of.
No, not just Whitmore. I mean, a Whitmore combo with something else. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say
No, he's not just straight up Cam Whitmore. No. But
All right, cool. So I mean, that's really all. I'm trying to think of anything else that happened during that game that pissed me off, and outside of Tari Eason making some stupid offensive decisions,
yeah, I mean,
he got back-to-back charge calls, which is
yeah.
Or
no. He had a couple. He had a couple bad play. He had a charge. No, it was Jabari Smith.
Well, Tari Eason also did charge. He extended the.
Yeah, Tari Eason.
For no reason.
Jabari Smith had a couple bad possessions in a row.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, he's young.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be too harsh on guys. Yeah, who are only in their first, second, third year.
Yeah.
Once you get to that fourth year, it's okay, you have money now.
Şengün did struggle a little bit. Obviously, with a guy like him, it's like any of those guys, like a Jokic or whatever, when they can distribute and rebound and play defense too. Yeah. That they're not going to have a bad game just because they're not hitting their shots. But I definitely feel like he struggled to score more. especially early in the game, and that's when they got down.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of differences between Jokic and Sengun, but one big difference, Sengun, you got to be shooting those wide open threes. You know, I don't want you to force any threes for sure. Like, no doubt.
He's only. I didn't realize this too. He's only 22.
I mean, yeah,
like he's super.
But he's in the
young,
same position, Jalen. And I'm bashing Jalen Green.
He is, but he had a good series. That's the difference. He was their best player this series.
That's true.
He was their actual superstar. God, dude, I'm not even gonna get into it. Jalen Green is not that team's superstar, so the media can say whatever they want. But
yeah. All right, cool. Let's get into our first round preview predictions, all that kind of stuff. What do you want to start with? Should we do East first?
Let's start with the East. I feel like that's gonna go decently quickly.
All right, then let's start with the 1 seed Cavs playing the Indiana Pacers. So actually we're recording this a day after the Pacers have already gone up 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that game?
I did watch a good amount of it.
Yeah, can you tell? Because I've been so sleep deprived that I had to sleep. Like I was literally trying to stay awake. It's not because the game was actually fun. I was having fun watching the game.
Pacers games are always fun. Pacers games are always fun because the pacing Pacers.
I mean, they play so fast. Yeah. I think also the Cavs are even like they take a bunch of threes. They have just fun. Like Donovan Mitchell's a fun player.
Yep.
Yeah.
Max Strus, if you're talking about the Cavs, Max Strus only had 7 points in 32 minutes. And he was kind of taking up those Garland minutes, a lot of them. Ty Jerome was really good. Donovan Mitchell was inefficient, 1 of 11 from 3, but he had 33 points on 13 for 30.
Well, I was going to say, because Donovan Mitchell, I just looking at the box score, had 33 points on 30 shots. Yeah. Ty Jerome had like 22 points on 20 shots.
Yeah.
So did it look that much work?
I mean, I guess you always... For me, I guess... I think it's more of a bias thing because I look at Donovan Mitchell and I expect more out of him than I do out of Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
If Ty Jerome gives you like a borderline efficient 22 points, you're pretty happy about that. So I guess that's kind of... But no, they genuinely did have very similar games. Mobley looked good. Mobley had like 20 and 7 or whatever. Jared Allen didn't do too much offensively, but you know, that's not what you expect out of him.
Yeah.
Andrew Nembhard, 23 points.
I saw like
Tyrese 22 and 13. Like, dude, it was just basically the difference in the game, I feel like, was, you know, if the Cavs have Garland, they win that game. But the Pacers just did what they did.
So wait, because we never talked about, you know, any of the last series, or a lot of them. Yeah. But all these now the Heat players are probably just a little salty. Yeah. But the Heat were saying that they lost games 3 and 4 because Garland didn't play. Yeah. Because Garland's such a bad defender because he's a worse defender than Tyler Hero.
I'm sure you would have only lost by 30 if Garland was like, get out of here. Honestly, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, it was a very offensive-driven game, and I don't think Garland have gone to stops, but they obviously would have had.
They needed the offense. They needed the offense more than they needed the defense.
So when I stopped watching the game, it was Pacers were up 10, and then it ended up being up 10. So I pretty much kind of know how the game went.
Yeah.
For the most part, but like in that first half though, Siakam and Tyrese Haliburton were the 2 aggressive guys, and that's how it needs to be. I don't want to see any more. Jarris, one thing that kind of ruined their momentum a little bit is when Jarris Walker was in the game, who I loved as a prospect, but taking a bad 3 with 5 seconds left kind of pissed me off. If you're going to take any bad shot, it has to be Haliburton and it has to be Siakam. But for the most part, that's what they were doing. These 2 have to be aggressive, and then everyone else just has to do their role because that's how the Pacers play it best. If Miles Turner has open dunks and open threes, Aaron D. Smith open dunks, open threes, and then every other tough shot is given to Siakam and given to Reese.
No, I mean, what really struck me about the Pacers, and this was something because I contrasted it with how they looked last year, they looked really poised, right? That series against Boston, they have a lot of talent. They just didn't look poised in big moments. But so far through this entire playoffs, they have really looked settled, and they have not let the moment get to them at all. You know what's funny? I had this thought while I was watching that.
Outside of, wait, I do want to interrupt real quick. The start of that overtime game, no, they were not. Haliburton was chucking the worst shots I've ever seen for no reason. Hey. Outside of that one moment, they've been poised. But I want to point that out because
for sure.
That game pissed me off.
But you know what's funny? Because I was thinking about it, obviously, because the games were back to back. The Pacers are like the complete opposite of the Rockets. Dude, they're the entire inverse, right?
I saw a tweet that was like, I feel like I'm watching a whole different sport. From this game to this game.
No, dude, it's so weird. But like, Indiana looked good. That being said, no Garland, I think does make a big difference in this series. I think in this series particularly, because it's going to be such an offense-driven series, Garland's going to have a huge impact.
Did you see that? Apparently, if it was just the regular season,
he'd be out 1 to 2 weeks. Yeah, I did see that.
It's not looking good. I mean, I think maybe Garland could afford to miss one more game, but
I mean, it's the only thing is like you don't want to be down 2-0 going back to Indiana.
yeah,
But I don't
would.
think they will be, regardless of whether Garland plays or not.
Yeah. What's your prediction?
So I've got Cavs in 6.
I still kind of want to say Cavs in 5, but I think I'll go Cavs in 6.
I just don't see them sweeping the next 4 games. But look, Cleveland is the number 1 seed for a reason. They're gonna come back and win at home. Tomorrow I would put good money on that. And then I think they take 1 out of 2 in Indiana. And I think after that they're just gonna take both of the next 2 games. That's kind of my prediction for how the series goes. One of the big things for me is Andrew Nembhard had 23 points. He's not going to give that to you consistently. Yeah. And if he does, you might win the series. But I'm not betting that a guy that averaged 10 points per game during the season is going to give you 23 on a consistent basis.
Even though he was like not just as great, but almost just as great last year in the playoffs. Like he was a playoff riser pretty much.
No, yeah.
But and then Garland's going to be back.
Garland's going to be back.
Strus's minutes will go down, and like Hunter and Jerome's might go up a little bit.
I would hope so. Because Strus is just not what he was in Miami, and that's okay because what he was in Miami was like absolutely incredible during that playoff run.
I think it was just the playoff run.
It was just that's what I mean. Just during that playoff run.
Yeah, it's like
this is just kind of who he is. Like he'll have a good game every now and then, like a really good game. But my biggest thing is that when you look at what the Cavs have done all year, when you look at how they've spread out their minutes, spread out their shots, spread out their responsibility offensively, defensively, Donovan Mitchell should be fresh. Like Donovan Mitchell, and I get it. I feel like this year has done something weird to people's perceptions of Donovan Mitchell because people, even though he's had the most team success he's ever had this year, people kind of look at him in a worse light than they did like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when he was on the Jazz.
Yeah.
And I think that's weird because he just scored 71 points last year in a game. I mean, he's still the same guy who put up the 3rd most points ever in a playoff game, right? This dude can go nuclear. I mean, when you talk about guys like playoff risers and guys who can carry a team offensively, Donovan Mitchell is definitely one of those guys. And
we've seen an average 36
in
multiple playoff series, actually.
I think he should be fresh. He should be rested. He's, they've been pretty like, in terms of offensively, Garland and Mobley and Hunter when he came over and Jerome have taken on a lot of offensive responsibility. Donovan Mitchell is due for, and I know the due factor. I know I argue against it, but Donovan Mitchell is due for a really good series. And no one offensively on Indiana can match that one-on-one.
Yeah, I think that what they need to win, though, is I don't know what the box score says. I don't really care. Jared Allen did not look good to me yesterday. Like he should be dominating Miles Turner in the paint, on the boards, every
you would think
of being a center besides shooting threes.
Jared Allen just has those games though, where he just kind of doesn't seem like it's almost like Rudy Gobert in a way. Like when they're engaged in being a big man, they're great. Sometimes they just kind of are a little complacent.
Jared Allen has to be engaged because he actually has touch versus Gobert doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's what really makes me mad. And you say like they have Jared Allen, in my opinion, can't have those games in this series. Maybe
he can have one more, but I mean like
but in general, this
ideally
Indiana
he wouldn't.
team is a great team. Like I only want to say Cavs in 5 because when every single player is locked in for both teams, the Cavs should be winning every single time because of how lengthy they are, because of their scoring. Because even if you want to, like, I think Donovan Mitchell's a lot better than Halliburton. Yeah. But even if they are equal, let's say, I mean, they got Darius Garland. They have guys who are way better.
The thing is, they're just as good offensively, and they should be much better defensively than the Pacers.
The Cavs have probably the 6th man and the 7th man of the year. Like if you talk about the 7th man of the year of it being probably, I'd say Hunter, I guess. Hunter would be the 7th man. He'd be the best 7th man. 6th man, I mean, there's probably Peyton Pritchard, and then it's Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
So I think just all around, the Cavs should win. I think, Jared Allen needs to lock in. I think Mobley played good. He had a couple turnovers that kind of made me mad, but overall, Mobley played good.
Overall,
he actually hit like 3 in the first quarter, which, I mean, he has been hitting threes this year. I don't know if that's what they need for them to win. Yeah. I kind of want any 3 taken by like a good 3-point shooter, but hey, I don't know.
I mean, but it sounds like we kind of agree. We can move on to the next series in the West. Celtics and Knicks.
In the East.
In the East. Why did I say the West?
I don't know.
I don't know, dude. In the East, Celtics and Knicks.
Give me Celtics in 5.
Really?
I think it's really not close.
At all? You don't think it's close at all?
No, because as good as Jalen Brunson was in that first round, the Celtics perimeter defenders are on a whole nother level. You'll always have one of Drew Holiday and Derek White on you, and I just think these Knicks wings are like cool, but they're not. I don't know. I just think the Celtics are that much better. I think that what they showed that last year, they like pretty much dominated the playoffs. They lost what, total of 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
And this Knicks team, it really is. I heard someone say it, I forget who it was, but Tom Thibodeau doesn't actually know offense. He doesn't actually have an offense. He just gets Derrick Rose.
What do you mean he doesn't know offense?
He just gets Derrick Rose and Jalen Brunson, and then they just do their thing. And like that's literally it. What is their offense besides like Jalen Brunson just being Jalen Brunson? I guess like Mikal Bridges has a cool pull-up jump shot. Like I really don't like this Knicks offense, and I think as great and as try hard, like as much as effort as the Pistons can give, their personnel defensively, outside of Asar Thompson, in my opinion, isn't great.
That's fair.
And I think the Celtics, it really is just a whole nother level. Even if like we talk about Porzingis, but Al Horford being able to guard, like I think Al Horford's gonna have a decent time guarding Cat. Like it's not gonna be terrible.
I would think so.
Because he's a veteran, he's not gonna foul as much.
But I think Cat's success is more dependent on his aggressiveness than it is on the defense that's on it. Because most of the time when he's not successful, it's because he's not being aggressive. Like those are his unsuccessful games when he's settling for threes or he's just not shooting and he's deferring.
Sometimes. Right? Sometimes when he's shooting that thing.
I mean, sometimes
last round was actually the reason he was playing so good was because he was just making logo threes, like out of nowhere. Like it was
I know, I know, but like that's also like I would rather have him shoot that than pass that up.
Yeah, that's true.
He's genuinely the best shooter on that team.
I also think, I don't think the Celtics' depth is like the greatest. They have the sixth man, but outside the sixth man, and Horford, like outside of those 7, it's not too great in my opinion. The Knicks is even worse. Like actually, like way worse. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the bench.
McBride's a decent player.
Corby, the bench isn't seeing minutes. It doesn't matter if they're bad because they're not getting on the court. Tom Thibodeau, Josh Hart, you better have an oxygen tank ready for the timeouts because you're not getting on the bench while the game's still going.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I just think both teams could do that, and I'd still take the Celtics in 5 because of just how good. I think Jason Tatum is the best player in the series. I think Jaylen Brown's the 3rd best player. I think who's next? Like Derek White or Porzingis? Derek White. Derek White's like the 5th best player. I just think in every kind of way, the Celtics outmatch them, and the Celtics know it's not a question like the Rockets, where if you want to see the Rockets player by player, just have the overall better team.
Yeah.
They don't have the experience. The Celtics have the experience. They've done this before. They'll do it again.
And you're not wrong.
This would be betting on what I know.
Like and look, I have the Celtics winning the series too, so it's not crazy. I guess Celtics in 5 isn't crazy, but I have Celtics in 7, and the reason for that is a couple of things. I understand the Celtics really beat them up in the regular season. I understand that they match up really poorly with the Knicks' lack of perimeter defense. Because the Knicks give up the 5th highest 3-point percentage of any team, and the Celtics obviously shoot threes like there's no tomorrow, right? Yeah. Here are my 2 things, though. Number 1, the Knicks held the Detroit Pistons to 32.6% shooting from 3 in the first round, which was 3rd best out of any team in the playoffs, and like as in they 3rd best 3-point defense, right?
Right.
The Pistons only shot 0.8% lower from 3 than the Celtics did during the regular season. That is the one thing I would say about the Celtics is this year the Celtics, even though they took a lot of threes, they were only the 10th best 3-point shooting team percentage-wise. So their percentage has gone down since, last year when they were both the best volume and percentage-wise 3-point shooting team, or like one of the best in both those categories. So that's the one thing. Their perimeter defense did look better, and I am more encouraged to believe that they won't get bombarded from 3 in, like every game the way that they kind of did in the regular season. So that's number 1. Number 2, Karl Anthony Towns should not be able to be guarded by anybody on the Celtics. I understand Al Horford is a good defender. I understand Porzingis is mobile.
Al Horford's the Embiid stopper.
Al Horford is 36 years old. If you are Karl Anthony Towns, you got to look Al Horford in the eye and go, that's food. That's what you got guarding me. I'm going to eat this series. Karl Anthony Towns has to be aggressive. Jalen Brunson is obviously going to do what he does. I think that's pretty well established at this point. There is no way if Karl Anthony Towns is being aggressive that they should be able to stop him. Genuinely. And it really is like if he can be aggressive and that's his mentality, I think it's a really close series.
Okay. I want to ask how much you think about this when you think about these playoff predictions.
Mm-hmm.
The referees have let a lot go.
Yeah.
Throughout every single series. Like every single series has been more physical than the regular season. The Pistons just got out-talented by the Knicks because the Pistons were way more physical. And a lot of people say, the Knicks should have got, outside of obviously like, what's his name was Tim Hardaway Jr. was fouled on the three-pointer, or was him or
it was Tim Hardaway.
Outside of that, I saw a lot of people online talking about how the Knicks deserve more calls and all this, but the fact is, like in my opinion, it was pretty even. Outside of just the Pistons were more aggressive, so they're just going to look like they're fouling every play, but really the Knicks just don't like physicality. Knowing it's probably going to be just as physical in the second round. Does that not worry you about the Knicks and how like Boston can be physical?
Boston can be physical, but do you really look at them as this like Pistons-esque physical team?
No, but it's still
like, is Jason Tatum this physical superstar, this physical defender?
I thought before the whole playoff started that like the Pistons were one of the most physical and the Knicks were one of the least. And I do think the Celtics are still like an above average. Like they're a physical team.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not OKC and it's not Detroit, but it's still like they're a physical team. And if you let like Al Horford's just a good enough defender where if you let him be physical, Cat just can't do anything with physicality. Like it pisses me off, and I want to believe in him. I do because he's like
thinking about that DeMarcus Cousins picture.
Yes, like that's my problem, and it hasn't, in my opinion, it hasn't gotten better. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say it. It's gotten like a little bit better since obviously those DeMarcus Cousins days, but I like the fact that if you let both teams be physical, Boston will win. If you don't let both teams be physical, Boston will win.
But you have, I have Boston winning too. But you have OG Anunoby. You have Mikal Bridges. You have guys that can play physical.
And I understand that they can play physical. I definitely don't see Mikal Bridges is not physical. Like
you don't think he's physical at all?
No, not at all. The only time he's physical is he does like to kind of bump the defense. Like on offense, he likes to bump the defense to get that mid range off. But defensively, no. Or else he would have been physical because the refs were holding it.
I mean, that's true.
Because like I feel like a lot of the free throws the Pistons got were like the Knicks just obviously fouling. Like it wasn't like a physicality thing. Like they were actually just grabbing on the arm.
Yeah.
And then like the Pistons, outside of Cade Cunningham, had no one who could create. Maybe Dennis Schroeder. So that's why, like, honestly, you didn't really get any open threes for Pistons players besides like maybe like Malik Beasley would shoot in transition. But there weren't that many open threes. But with a team with Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're gonna be able to generate more open threes.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, that's what they're best at. And yeah, I guess I would be more surprised if the Knicks won the series than I would be if the Celtics won it in 5. I just think it'll be a closer series than 5 games.
That's fair. We still both have
and let's just briefly mention this. This is about to be the most psychotic coaching matchup you've ever seen in your entire life. The coaches might fight. This might be the first time we ever see a fight between 2 coaches in a playoff series.
Both of them aren't real people.
One of them is the Penguin, and the other one is just a psycho. Did you see that clip of Joe Mazzulla yelling at Jason Tatum when he was like down on the ground hurt?
Yeah, just telling him just get up, just stop crying.
Dude's real shit, but
versus Eric Carbon. So I mean, dude, well, it's gonna be a fun series for sure.
It'll be fun. Yeah, game 1 tonight.
Yeah,
but yeah. All right, let's move on. Do you want to start with the 1-4, or do you want to start with the 6-7? Okay, let's start with the 1-4 because I feel like, unfortunately, it's a little more cut and dry. But Thunder Nuggets.
I'll take OKC in. It's either 5 or 6. Like I don't see a sweep, and I don't see 7.
I got them in 6.
I'll give it 6, just because Jokic is the best player in the world. I've always said that.
He is.
I said Shea's the best scorer. I said he's the MVP.
So Jokic is the best player in the world,
Jokic's the best player in the world.
Yeah, the best player in the world.
It's not by much.
Captain. Jalen Brunson born to play basketball.
Hey, sometimes I look at Jalen Brunson, he might be the best player in the world. But right now,
sometimes I look at Jalen Brunson, I'm like, if you just were like 4 inches taller,
you'd be Jordan.
But he's like 5'11", dude, and he's that good. That's crazy.
I swear 5'11".
What's your excuse?
I have no excuse. Hey, that's still 3 inches taller than me. I don't know.
I guess so.
So yeah, OKC has had a whole week off to just rest, to just game plan. Like they didn't know they'd play either the Nuggets or they knew they played one of them, but they didn't know which one.
Yeah.
But like you have enough time, a whole week, you have time to game plan for both of them.
Yeah.
And especially when Denver was up 3-2. Yeah. I think, in my opinion, a lot of people are going to look at the Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein versus Jokic matchup and think Jokic just will have an easier time than Zubac. And that might be true. But there's a lot of leniency when your perimeter defenders are that good where they will be doubling Jokic. Jokic will not be getting one-on-one looks at all just because we know how it's psychotic. You want to talk about a psychotic coach. Psychotic players like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso will be running and running and running during this series just to make sure not only is Jokic kind of double-teamed, but also we're defending the shooters. And then overall, Shea, I just don't think there's anyone. There's not a single player on Denver that can match up with Shea.
No.
Yeah, Hartenstein might not be the greatest matchup for Jokic, but I like Hartenstein on Jokic way more than I like anyone on Shea.
Like outside of maybe Peyton Watson.
Oh, right.
You'd be.
Oh, by the way, I did want to talk about that. Shout out. Dude, he played good.
Yeah, no, he did.
7. Like,
he did.
If he is hitting, he doesn't even have to hit threes in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, he does, but like, he was just, you help off of me. Peyton Watson just catches the ball and just drives, and it's an easy drive every time. If you could just hit layups, that's all you have to do. Stay on the court. He's their best perimeter defender. If he can be playable in the series, then it could look a little better than I think it's going to be.
But the problem, and that's why I've got it going 6, but the problem is they're just going to put him in pick and roll with Hartenstein if Jokic is on Hartenstein.
Yeah, and they're just going
to try to abuse that. So, I mean, I think the way you have to try to win the series if you're Denver is they're gonna try to run that pick and roll a lot, and they're gonna try to get onto Jokic with Shea. You've just got to leave like Lou Dort or Alex Caruso or even Chet or whoever open from 3 if they're at the 3-point line, and just hope that they miss. And even then, dude, Oklahoma City shot horribly from 3 in their last series, and they swept them.
Yeah.
So
and it's a whole worse of a team, but we've seen Lou Dort have some ridiculous 3-point games.
Yeah, but if he does, you just live with that.
And no,
you know what I mean? Like that is the thing when you're playing a team that's that much better than you. You just have to hope. That's the only way that Denver really wins this series, in my opinion, is if OKC's guys on the bench don't show up. I think Shea's going to show up. I would assume I almost called him Chet. Chet is going to show up. I assume J-Dub's going to show up. Hartenstein's going to do what he's not expected to do much offensively, but he's going to do what he's going to do. It really is like, Case and Wallace going to have a bad series? Is Aaron Wiggins going to have a bad series? Is Lou Dort going to have a bad series? Isaiah Joe. Are these bench guys going to have a bad series? Because that's what Denver needs, because Denver does not have anybody off their bench, really, when it comes right down to it.
So I think obviously anything is possible. I was talking to my dad yesterday.
Okay, Kevin Garnett.
Jason Tatum.
We did it!
So, like, I thought last year that OKC was the best. It was tied between them and Boston last year being the best team in the league. Obviously, OKC lost in the second round, but I think OKC lost in a way where you live with it. Where, like, PJ Washington and it was like Derrick Jones Jr. or something. They were just killing you from 3, and that's just so much better than Luka or Kyrie killing you. Yeah. Where like you just live with, like, even though you're the best team, there's some times where you have to take the L. Like you can't win every year, even if you're the best team every year. Yep. And that's kind of the way to beat OKC this year too. Like you let Lou Dort beat you, and then if they're doubling off Jokic, because like Hartenstein and Chet, like that being your 4 or 5 is just really tough. You might just have to see if Christian Brown can win you the game.
I actually want to rescind my previous statement.
Okay.
There's one other way that the Denver Nuggets win this series, and it is the most poetic way they could possibly win this series. And that's if Russell Westbrook has a series we have not seen from him in years. Like, literally. And you know what? This is the series for it. If he's going to have it, now is the time. Yeah. Like, he's going back to OKC, which, dude, that's actually, like, I don't know, dude, like, I get it. Actually. I get it. It's Jokic in shape, but dude, that's actually like I'm just getting chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
Dude, Russ is back in OKC for a playoff series. He gets off one fast break dunk, dude. He's going crazy.
You want to know something insane? Is OKC fans are actually, some of them are debating between themselves who to root for. I'm not kidding.
I know, dude.
Like,
it's crazy. No, it's actually crazy. That's like, I don't know, dude. Because when you think about what Russ means to that fan base, everyone else left them. They traded Harden. Durant obviously did what he did. Russ stayed, won MVP the year after Durant left. He made them competitive for those years, right? And then, they traded him and they got those assets back that they've then used to build their team. And like, I believe it.
They could have done
out of
Russ.
anybody,
The only
in the
reason
league,
it's not like a debate, it's like it's not like it's the finals. Like
No.
if Russ could win this, or the Nuggets could win this series and then lose next round, and then what? Yeah, you lost. So that's So, but like
I get that.
obviously,
but
just the fact that they're debating about it is just like,
it's
just
still
goes to
crazy.
show how much Russ means to OKC.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's gonna be too close of a series, but I do think that like Jokic will win you one or two for sure.
Yeah.
But overall, no one can guard Shea. Dude, when you said there's one other way, I literally thought you were gonna say go for Shea's knees.
Go for Shea's knees. Maybe, dude. I mean, let's be real though. If Shea gets hurt, the series is over.
Oh yeah, the Nuggets will.
And if Jokic gets hurt, the series is more than over.
You know what? If Shea gets hurt though, and OKC still wins, Shea might. Yeah, that dude's not the MVP. But I don't see any way where that's.
But
possible.
look, you know what's crazy too, Corby? I think the MVP is going to be announced during the series.
That'd be crazy, actually.
Because with the schedule they've got, so they've got it out until May 7th, and May 7th is like just one of the NBA's like whatever awards, right?
Yeah.
I think it has to be announced during the series. There's no way they've announced every other award. They're announcing Coach of the Year, I think, tonight. So there's literally no way they put it off longer than that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a whole nother deal. Like.
That'll be fun to see how the players react to that.
The funny thing is, I think if Shea wins MVP, it doesn't really motivate Jokic that much. I mean, we'll see how he responds. I think if Jokic wins MVP, Shea's going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, Shea is going to put up, like, maybe 50 in a game.
If you're Shea, you might be rooting for Jokic to win MVP. So
if he's like
don't give someone else a reason.
But is like Shea like a psycho like that? That's the one thing about Shea that I always I don't question,
really
but like
these two players just care about winning. I don't like the MVP might.
I think they do. I don't think Shea is like even like an Anthony Edwards, where he's like a psycho about like getting the 3-point. Like he cares about making sure he has like the most 3-pointers made in the season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No,
but yeah, dude, if the Nuggets win and Russ has like a great series, real tears will be shed.
Yeah,
dude.
So obviously Hartenstein will be on Jokic. One matchup I love for OKC though is Chet being on Aaron Gordon.
Yeah,
I understand like how good of a 3-point shooter he is, but he's still a guy you can kind of roam off of, and Chet's like one of the best roamers in the whole NBA. If the Nuggets want to win though, MPJ, you got to give me something. He's
got to give you more than just spot up 3-point shooting.
MPJ, he can't just give you enough because he gave you enough in the Clippers series. No, he needs to like go crazy.
Especially with how they're going to be able to guard Jamal Murray. Like I know Jamal Murray is great, but I mean, dude, Oklahoma City has the perfect personnel to guard him, and they can put so many different guys on him. Really, MPJ should be a mismatch for whoever he's on if he's playing aggressively.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see just spot up shooting. I want to see drives to the basket. I want to see mid ranges.
MPJ's not doing anything against Dort. I'm not gonna lie.
No, but like, I guess you could put Dort. Yeah.
Like I understand he's taller. Maybe a catch and shoot 3. Just shoot over him.
But I would assume Dort's either going on like Jamal Murray or.
But maybe you put Case and Wallace. Like I really don't.
You could, but
I think they will start actually though. Shea, J-Dub, Dort, Chet, Hartenstein. Yeah, they'll start the double bigs in my opinion.
Yeah,
because that's what they did. I think last game in the regular season against Denver. So
yeah,
it'll be fun though. MVP versus MVP. I can't wait. Even though I'm saying
the best player in the world against the best player in the world against the best team in the world. Like it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah,
Russ back in OKC. I honestly want it to go 7 because I want to see as much of this series as possible, especially if it's close.
I do too.
But yeah.
Well, actually, I don't. So I haven't. The reason is, dude, I just made this bet where the 3 series we've already previewed.
Yeah.
I bet each of whoever I pick to win, I bet them to win and for it not to go 7. Because I don't believe in any of those series going 7. I just don't think it'll happen.
Any of the series you bet on, or any of the series in the second round?
Any of them I bet on.
Okay.
Any of the 3. The 3 we just went. This series, I can see going 7. So that's why I left it alone.
Or unfortunately, I can see going one of 2 ways, and one of the ways is not good for me.
All right. I was about to say Rockets. Warriors versus Wolves.
Get them out of here.
Dude, this like, I want to say this is the most fun series because it's the one I believe will go 7 and will be most competitive, even though technically OKC and Denver is like fun. Like that's just fun. That's just 2 MVPs.
OKC and Denver. Yeah.
But this is the closest.
Dude, that's the problem is like as much as I love like Jokic and love Shea, Ant versus Steph is just a better matchup. Like when you hear that, but
so
yeah,
Minnesota has had probably 5-6 days of rest.
a lot
already.
of rest. Yeah,
Warriors 0 days or one. I don't.
1 day.
1 day rest. Yeah.
One day to fly to Minnesota. You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be torturous. LeBron.
That's
Steph.
Yeah, you heard that. You heard that. We talked about that, right?
Yeah, we talked.
Yeah, dude, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think I'm gonna take Minnesota in 7.
And I'm not mad at that.
And where are you going? And then I'll get into my
Look, I gotta ride with my team.
That's not a bit. Don't. Yeah.
I
don't-
gotta
don't
go.
with the other team.
I gotta go Warriors in 6. I think if it goes 7 back to Minnesota, they're taking it. So it's got to be Warriors in 6.
Yeah.
They got to take it in the Bay.
Because we've seen Minnesota win a game 7,
Dude.
So.
And it's not just him. Look, Julius Randle has been incredible, and I think given the sample we've seen from this year, he's going to continue to be incredible. Unless they put Draymond Green on him, and that might be the matchup that really screws him over. I'm going to be honest, because Draymond Green will not just physically try to negate him; he will get in his head. Yeah. And Julius Randle is a guy that we know can get in his head sometimes.
What's the matchup you think? You think they run?
So I thought about this a lot. I actually thought about you think what the were you asking if does Minnesota go double big?
No, I'm asking. I don't think it's likely, but I'm saying
Yeah.
do you see the Warriors going double Draymond and Looney is what I mean? Because who else besides Draymond can guard Julius Randle?
So the tough part about that is, yeah, you're gonna want Draymond on Julius Randle. You might be able to get away with Jimmy on Julius Randle. Maybe. If you want to go small and you want to put Draymond on Rudy.
Or Jimmy on Rudy.
Or Jimmy on Rudy even.
Because if you don't believe that Rudy can take advantage.
I don't know that you need to go double big until Naz Reid gets in the game. But if the Minnesota decides to go really big, that might be, depending on how that looks on both ends, because obviously that could be a defensive liability. But Naz Reid moves well, Randle moves well, Gobert, can just kind of do what he does.
Yeah.
And he moves well too, actually. I'm not even going to give him disrespect like that. He moves well. If they go 3 big and it works, that's trouble for the Warriors, especially with rebounding. Already, Randle and Gobert with going small against it might be trouble when it comes to the offensive rebounding again,
right?
Especially with what we saw Gobert do against the Lakers. I will say I think Draymond can handle him better than anybody that Lakers could handle him. Another guy that I think is going to be really huge in this series is Brandon Podziemski. I think he has to be aggressive. I think he has to be aggressive early and often because he's going to have a 37-year-old Mike Conley on him. And no disrespect to Mike Conley, but, a same thing as a 36-year-old Al Horford. You have to take advantage of a guy like that. And Brandon Podziemski has the ability to do that. And that is the 1 week matchup for Minnesota against Golden State. Otherwise, they match up pretty well with them.
I don't think it is. I don't like, dude. His game pisses me off.
Brandon Podziemski?
Yes.
Why?
A lot. Because I understand. Because I do have a logic where, your best players should be taking the toughest shots. Yeah. Whenever I watch Pod's game, it's he could only take the easiest shots. If he pulled up for a mid range, he just wouldn't look comfortable doing it, and I'd be so happy with that. And I don't want him pulling up for mid range, but a guy like Moody who can pull up at any time, where he can kind of score at 3 levels. Yeah. I'd be oh, you don't necessarily want to give up that shot. He looks so scared.
I feel like it's wild though to say that he can't pull it for mid range. I feel like he does a lot.
I
feel like that's a big part of his game. Actually,
I think
he loves to get to free throw line extended.
Maybe he does, but to me, when I watch someone guard him, everyone wants him to shoot. Any defender kind of they're not playing super aggressively.
Yeah, but think about who was guarding him most of the time. They got Şengün on him. Şengün's not gonna play up on him in that Rockets series.
I don't know. Every time I watch his game, I just think a guy like Buddy Hield would be so much more of a threat. And I understand Pods is smarter. He can rebound better.
But Buddy Hield is a 1-level scorer. When he's on from that 1 level, we saw what he can do. But Podziemski can get to the basket. He can shoot threes, and he does have a mid-range game and a floater game.
What's get to the basket? I don't know. Okay, so maybe I want to.
He's a good finisher.
I want to look at some stats. Every time I see him try and finish, that's not literally at the basket layup. It's brutal. I don't know. Maybe I just have this bias.
He's got a good float game
because I liked him going into the NBA a lot. But I don't know. Whenever I watch him, I just always think a guy like Kuminga or Moody could just do so much more.
Corby, Kuminga's not seeing the floor. I wish he would, but there's just no way if he only played in like 3 or 4 games in a series against the Rockets, the team he was the best against in the regular season, that he comes out and gets significant minutes against the Timberwolves.
I want to see what he shot last series because he pissed me off. You know what? I'm going to go. You talk about another
Podziemski?
point and I'll get into it. Yeah.
Why are you such a hater?
Because every time I looked, his game pisses me off.
I don't think he's as bad as you think he is.
Let me see. Hold on.
Yeah, whatever. You look it up. But yeah, no, he should be able to take advantage of Mike Conley. Like, he should be able to take advantage of that.
Okay, so
yeah,
it was
what
like
did he
30.
shoot?
It was 38 from the floor, 34 from 3, which means his true shooting in the playoffs was 50%.
It's not 49%.
Okay, no, it's not 49%.
I'm not
That's
taking
terrible.
a series against a team that has one of the best perimeter defenses in the NBA.
Were they playing
versus 37-year-old Mike Conley?
Were they one of the best perimeter defenses against Pods? No, they weren't. Pods got easy looks. He got easy looks. You can't tell me he was.
He
getting
made
tough
his
looks.
easy looks. Those are from his tough looks. What do you mean?
What do you mean? He didn't get tough looks. He didn't get tough
At
looks
all.
last
He
year.
never had a tough look in the entire
I
series.
didn't see
So
any.
we got to go back and watch footage from all 7
The only
games.
tough looks I saw was him like he had to shoot at the buzzer. That's the only tough look I saw. That dude is not good. If you want a dude to take advantage of a mismatch, it has to be Moody. It has to be someone else.
I'm gonna make you eat your words when he has his first 20-point game in the series.
Okay, but I'm talking the whole series. Okay, maybe
he's gonna. Okay, Corby.
have to be game one.
I watched him for the whole season. I get in one series he wasn't efficient, but there's a reason he got inserted into the starting lineup. He was legitimately their second offensive option at a lot of points during the season after they acquired Jimmy Butler.
I don't care. That dude pisses me
Yeah,
off.
whatever.
Well, because it doesn't matter. The regular season doesn't matter. Like it's what.
Oh,
you
it
do
doesn't
in the
matter.
playoffs.
It matters a little bit. It's a body of work to look
I also
at.
don't think Pods. Even if you want to say he's a decent scorer when Steph gives him an open look, he's just not the type to take advantage of a mismatch. I think you're fine. If I'm Minnesota,
I guess.
I'm living with that. You attack Mike Conley. He's only 6'4", 6'5". Mike Conley's 6'1". Like, yeah, it's a mismatch, but it's not. That's just not the guy you want. Yes, like to attack a mismatch. What is he getting? He's not gonna get a post up or anything, right? So it has to be what, a cut, an ISO. Don't give Pods an ISO. Are you kidding me? How is he gonna take advantage of this mismatch?
The Warriors don't ISO though.
So how is he gonna take advantage of the mismatch?
Cuts.
I'm good, dude. I'm good off him. And this is why I'm taking Minnesota. That one reason.
Yeah, just because of Brandon Podziemski.
It's not just him.
Yeah.
But I do think the overall unit of the Warriors just doesn't match up. Like, this Wolves team is really good. They showed it last year, making the Western Conference Finals. They have a legit 7-8 guys that I'm confident. The thing about the Warriors is, it's a good and bad thing, but they have like 11, 12 guys. But those, like, it's like the 7th through 12th man. It's like you don't know if he can actually play in the series. Versus, like, anyone in the top 8 of the Wolves, I'm like, they're going to play in the series. Like, you are confident in them.
But that's the thing. The Warriors have a lot of versatility off their bench.
That's the positive.
They can play a lot of different guys. Like, I feel like Gui Santos is a guy you didn't see play a lot against the Rockets. I think he's a guy you could see play more minutes. I think you could see him 15 minutes a game this series. I think, a Kuminga, even though I highly doubt he plays due to the precedent that's been set, he's another guy who you could see more of in this series from a scheming standpoint, right?
And the Warriors did just beat the Rockets, and the Rockets kind of have the same philosophy of having that solid 1 through 8 where you can't play 9, 10, 11.
Also, Quentin Post should have a better series than he did against Houston.
Hopefully. I don't know. Every time I watch Post, too, like, defensively, like, it kind of pissed me off.
I feel like unorthodox white guys just piss you off.
And I really like I like rooting for American white boys, but like sometimes they piss me off, dude.
Well,
that's like real high school stuff too. Like sometimes the white dudes on high school teams, it's like, dude, why are you playing for my team? Like that's why I didn't go to those games. There's too many white dudes at our high school like playing basketball, like
because it wasn't fun to watch.
No, it wasn't fun. They just piss you off. That's it. Like
they play fundamental basketball. They play winning basketball.
Yeah, and I if I wanted to watch that, I'd watch Tim Duncan. So why would I watch my high school do that?
Also, Corby, Quentin Post is not American. He might be like an American now. I don't think he was born in America.
Oh, was he not?
I think he was born in Finland or something.
I have no idea. To be honest, before the season started, couldn't tell you who he was.
Well, guess what, Corby? He got drafted this year. Of course, you couldn't tell me who he was before the start of the season.
I know most of the draft guys. That's the thing. I do.
Really? Name all of them.
Bronny. Zachary Rizzo.
Yeah.
That's like enough.
It's like
Alex Sarr, we passed on him.
it's at least 2.
That's at least maybe 3. But
I think at the end of the day, and this is what does scare me, is it's going to come down to what team has the best player in the series.
you know what? I disagree. It
You
comes down to
disagree?
the second best player. I think the second best player will be the reason. I
I don't think so.
it comes down to Julius Randle, and both Jimmy and Steph have to be great.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Julius Randle has to be good. Jimmy and Steph both have to be great.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Edwards is probably going to be great.
And also, as good, yeah, Anthony Edwards has to be amazing.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert should dominate. In my opinion, I understand Draymond Green is amazing defensively. He's one of the best, if not the best defensive player right
The
now.
Warriors have bigs they can actually play that aren't Jackson Hayes.
But even if it's not Jackson Hayes, Gobert still has like a 4-inch difference between them. Besides Trace Jackson Davis.
I'm really glad that Rudy Gobert had a great game against the Lakers when they went small. Rudy Gobert has the bag of an elderly Italian woman. He does not play basketball. He's just tall. And I don't think if you put someone on him who's just like a couple inches shorter than him, he's going to be taking post hooks now, Corby?
No.
He's going to be taking advantage of that height advantage?
Bro, that's 4 or 5 inches. All he has to do is reach above him.
He can't!
Okay,
Corby, he doesn't. It's not in his bag.
Hold on. Let me say something, though.
Okay.
If the Wolves want to win this series, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah, tell me,
Anthony
Corby.
Edwards needs to learn how to pass to Gobert. And like, I'm
Never
not
happen.
kidding.
It's never going to happen.
It not only has it probably will never happen. It has never happened. So Gobert scored what, 28, 30, maybe more than 30 points in that game 5.
Yeah.
12 buckets. 8 of them were assisted. 0 of them were assisted by Anthony Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Ant had like 7 or 8 assists.
Yep.
Every assist, like this dude, and I'm not even kidding when I say, like, when Ant drives, the guy guarding, whether it was whoever it was, let's say it's Jackson Hayes, let's say it was whoever.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Jackson Hayes because he didn't play, but whatever. Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith would help on Ant's drive. Gobert would be wide open. Ant does not pass to that man. He never has. Ant gets excited when he throws an alley-oop because, like, he never does that.
Yeah.
Like, I think his first oop might have been, like, in the Olympics. Like,
It might have been, yeah. I you know what? I don't think shooting guards like throwing the ball to Rudy Gobert.
No.
Mitchell
never passed to him. Ant never passes to him.
Because, I'm sorry, are you giving Rudy Gobert a post-up? Is that the look that you're going to run? Is that the run?
But it's an open dunker spot, dude. Both of them. Both Mitchell and Ant could give this dude open.
They could. But why are you looking in that direction?
You want the ball? Get the rebound. That's literally what they say. They have the Kobe mentality.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you know what?
And he should be able to. He should be able to rebound. We'll see what happens.
He should be able to get the rebound.
Him and Draymond are both getting ejected at some point this series. That's all I know.
So if the Warriors win, because it is super close in my opinion, even though I think the Wolves win, it's super close. I think if both teams play up to their potential, I just see Minnesota. Like, I think that's when Minnesota wins. But I could just see, I could just see Randall having terrible. Again, Gobert having terrible. Jaden McDaniels is so iffy. That's when the Warriors take advantage.
And you're right, but it's also like. That's where the playing up to potential argument is like tough because like what is the potential of Jimmy and Steph? If Jimmy and Steph both play up to potential, what does that even look like?
It's greatness. Don't get me wrong. I literally think the potential of the other player. I can't. But besides now I'm a Buddy Hield believer. Besides Buddy Hield and those two, I don't believe in a single Warriors player.
A single one.
Draymond because
yeah,
Draymond pisses me. Why? Like that dude could have cost that game 7. Like obviously it was like a 20-point game in the end. He takes so many dumb shots, dude. Like sometimes you just don't need to shoot. I understand you made 1 or 2, but like,
dude, Corby, I'm actually gonna be completely honest with you. It's such a fine line with him because it's the line between not taking any layups and then trying to take like a reverse layup. Like I think you're gonna know exactly which play I'm talking about. Yeah. He sprinted down the court. Tried to split between Şengün and Steven Adams and do a... What? When have you ever done that in your life?
Dude, I agree with you. That sometimes you got to take like an open 3 or even like a semi-contested 3. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
As what he could be doing. A floater in the first game.
But he did make a floater.
Oh, he did. No.
I don't know. I just... Listen, if... It really just, and I do agree, it really does come down to if the Wolves others, or if Anthony Edwards, like I feel like the Timberwolves have a lower floor, and they do have a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm just betting on the playoff experience. I feel like the Warriors will be pretty consistent in their play. Um, and I hope that it's not another, like the carryover from the Rockets series isn't like, oh, we lost 2 out of our last 3 games and we're exhausted, you know?
Yeah.
But even if you lose the first 2 in Minnesota, you can afford that.
Hey, the series doesn't start until
Right.
home
If
team
they were at home to start, then I'd be really worried. But
well, Minnesota is at home.
I mean, if Golden State, if Golden State was
at
at home to start, then I'd be worried because I'm like, they're dropping one of those first 2 guaranteed.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But like, I feel like they're guaranteed to not. Or sorry, I don't know what I was saying.
I think I get what you mean.
I just mean like if they lose those first 2 games, it's not unexpected.
I also think ideally, like you would think, Minnesota they should have more than enough to handle the zone.
Mm-hmm.
They have more shooters. It's just, will those shooters hit a shot? But then again, like a guy like Jaden McDaniels, these last even 2 whole months he's been amazing. Probably averaged, like, with the playoffs and the last 2 months of the regular season, probably averaging 20 points per game.
He's been great. Like,
but now you got to do it in another series.
Yep.
And a series after that if you win. And then so like, can he be consistent throughout the playoffs? We'll see, especially because he has a slower release. Because even though Brooks struggled with the zone, like he could still get it off, and a guy like Mike Conley can, Nickeil Alexander-Walker can, Nasri definitely can.
Yeah.
So it's just really going to come down to that. How much do they run the zone? Like we said, these 2 West series, I can't wait for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
But these second round series aren't as exciting as these West Conference.
The East, and I don't know if it's just a narrative thing or if it's just what we hear, but I just feel like the East is just less compelling, and I think maybe it's just because they don't have as many established superstars. Like now that Giannis is out,
I mean Tatum. I think Tatum, if he won the Finals MVP, maybe he's the established. I think he deserved the Finals MVP. But
I mean, Tatum's the best out of that bunch, right? So it's like Tatum, Brunson, Mitchell, and Halliburton, which is not a bad 4. And then on the other end, you have the 2 leading MVP candidates in Shea and Jokic, and you have Anthony Edwards, and you have Steph Curry.
I will say, if it's not Warriors versus Thunder, and the other side is Cavs versus Cleveland, I'm more excited for that Cavs Cleveland series than like, because I think Warriors Thunder is like such an iconic, like, I don't know.
It actually would be. It actually would be.
If it's like Nuggets Wolves again, I'm actually more excited for the East.
If it's Thunder Wolves though, I mean Ant versus Shea, that's still pretty like.
Even then, I can't wait for this East series of Cavs, because like they've been the 2 best. Like besides OKC, obviously the 2 best teams by far, and just that.
Yeah.
I like. The Celtics haven't been as good on paper, but we know who they are. And then the Cavs have been on fire from 3 the entire season.
Yeah.
They have Donovan Mitchell, a playoff riser. I can't wait for that.
It should be. I mean, and I can't count your chickens before they hatch, but that should be a good matchup.
Yeah.
All
right. So that was our 4 predictions. We agreed on 3 of them pretty much.
Yep.
And then one of them, I mean, it really is.
One of them, Corby's on some bullshit. So.
All right. Yeah. I actually think Vegas, even wise, like it's pretty even. I think Minnesota's actually like minus 160.
That makes sense. The first game though, I would be curious to see what the spread is for Minnesota, because they might be a blowout.
I think it's could be. I think it's like 5.5. Could be wrong.
Yeah, it might be a blowout.
But yeah,
like,
we'll see.
5.5. That's crazy. We'll see.
I could be wrong. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment, and peace out.